evening folks, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Andy Electric Geek, and in this video I've tried something a little bit different from what I usually do. If you've been following me, subscribed for a while, you'll know that I mainly cover 4K Blu-ray. I do the occasional kind of haul video as well as some tech stuff, but to be honest, I just got fed up sitting in front of my little wardrobe of Blu-rays and 4Ks, and I was just so tempted to get out and about and do something different. Kind of selfishly for me, so that I was editing and creating something different, but also thought, you know, it's not going to do any harm for the channel. Maybe it's something you guys want to see, keeps it interesting for the viewers as well. So something definitely a bit different for me, and if you've enjoyed it today, remember to like it and you can let me know in the comments if you want to see more of this stuff. So I moved here just over a year ago, and much to my surprise, when I first walked into the town from a different direction, I discovered that there was still an actual video rental shop called Fast Forward. So naturally, me being of that mindset, and I used to work in Blockbuster all those years ago, so you know, that's definitely something that's nostalgic for me, and I miss the Blockbuster and the video rental days. So as soon as I seen this, I was curious, and I went, loads of pop culture pictures in the window and stuff. I thought, that's for me. And I went and discovered that yes, you could still, indeed, just less than half a mile from my house, you could still rent movies, DVDs, which I thought was pretty awesome, pretty retro. And I quickly got to know the owner, Colin, quite well, and I'd go in and out every week or so, because he also sells Blu-rays and graphic novels. So that's quickly became part of my little circuit when I go around here. I'm quite blessed, I've got a HMV as well and a CEX, so I kind of do a round robin of those three shops and I see what I can pick up. And yes, that is my real hair in the Blockbuster pick. So when I was in one day, I had this idea. I thought, do you know what, something different, maybe I could do like a little kind of Blu-ray hunting video. I know that's quite popular on YouTube, especially within the kind of BlueTube community. I didn't think it was something I'd get into, but I thought, do you know what, it is something I do, I genuinely do and enjoy, so I thought, why not film it and put my own spin on it. So this is a kind of beginning of one of those series, but it's kind of a different as well and a bit special, because Colin has very kindly agreed to do a bit of an interview with regards to his shop. He's been in the rental business for 35 years, he's obviously had to deal with all the challenges that that's presented. So I've done a little kind of interview, and then it'll turn into a bit of a Blu-ray hunt at the end of the video, and if you stay right to the end, you'll see what I picked up from Colin. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. You're not going to have to look at me for the whole video and these shelves that you must be well familiar with. So let's get about it, let's get out and about into air, and you can see all the wonders that are in Fast Forward.
Hello there, I'm Colin Sloan and I'm the owner of Fast Forward, and I started in here in the 1st of June 1987 and I've been here ever since for 35 years. And I got a phone call saying there was a shop unit up for let in Smith Street, and videos were the big thing back then, so I went round, seen the shop and took it on and started a video shop, because they were all the rage back then. It was just fill it full of videos and away you go. You could rent anything out back then. There was about 10,000 independents in Britain. The chains hadn't really formed at that point. It was early days, so it was all hundreds and hundreds of independents and stuff. The main chain in Scotland at the time was called Azad Video, and they had two shops in there, one in the main street and one down Whitlets Road, and there was a multitude of independents in there. The first video I logged on was Wanted Dead or Alive with Rutger Hauer in it, looking quite young, and it was brand new at the time, and the cost for a rental copy of that was $57.50. All the major releases at that time, that's what they cost. There was a kind of, they were so expensive because you could earn money out of them, and there was a kind of license in the price to rent out, so that's why they were so expensive at the time. But I mean, back then you would rent stuff for years without cessation. There was no retail, there was no computer downloading, no satellite streaming. The cinema was a one screen and TV for 4 channels, so we were the kings of the county back then. Nobody could touch us, you know. It was the only way of getting a new film when you wanted it. Well, it was quite a tough balancing act, because a lot of people still wanted VHS, and an increasing amount were wanting DVD, and they were also wanting a range. So I had to very carefully downgrade the amount of copies of VHS I got and upscale the amount of DVD I got and try and get a range in. So I was probably spending more than I earned back then, but it was to get that up and running. You know, because customers would have left you to go to the bigger places with bigger ranges. They could put a spend in store to get a range going, so it was a delicate balancing act, but I think I did it okay. A film out, a Ridley Scott film out called The Last Duel, and I thought that was really, really well done. That was a fantastic film. A bit underappreciated, so I'll make sure it does well in here. To be honest, they produce so few rental copies of films these days that most titles don't have a Blu-ray rental. So to do a section of Blu-ray rentals at this stage is not going to be a good idea, because you would have a paltry range, and you've got to be realistic with the revenue that you earn off these things nowadays. I did Blu-ray back when it first came out. I took all the top titles and I would buy maybe 2 or 3, you know, it was like the old change from VHS to DVD. I would start to downscale the DVDs and upscale the Blu-rays, but I was getting roughly about 2 or 3 rentals per unit of the Blu-rays, which is maybe £6, £8, and they cost about £30 to buy. So you were taking a loss every single time. Now there's an argument to say you could have a maximum stock that would start increasing your yield, but at that point when Blu-ray was coming out in rental, the rental incidence was going downwards quite rapidly. So I've just stuck to DVD for my rentals. I've diversified across the years, so I've started doing a lot of pop culture stuff, pop figures, comic books, merchandise, pictures, all that kind of stuff, key rings, all that stuff. And I found that the comic book angle has been really good, because it merges with the film culture really well. There's a lot of good Marvel films out at the cinema, it comes out in DVD, I've got all the books, so I find if there's maybe a new Spider-Man film comes out, or a Batman, then all my Spider-Man and Batman books start selling quite well. So pop culture seems to be the way ahead for me. If I hear that something's coming up and it's starting to become quite popular, I'll start getting some of the books in and stuff like that. So I've got my Moon Knight collection here, and I've got my Ghostbusters and my Spider-Man, and I've got the Batcave over there with all my Batman stuff. So it certainly helps to raise the profile, and comic books have become more mainstream nowadays because of the validation of the cinematic experience becoming, you know, it's a mainstream activity. So so it's a nice thing to happen. It's being chipped away at it, so there's still a wee bit of a kind of, you know, I think it's maybe childlike and that, but a lot of the comic books, particularly the independent comic books, they're a lot more adult, aimed at an older kind of reader. So you can get stuff for children, middle-aged, you know, the older reader, you know, so there's something for everybody. There's all the different genres, you know, sci-fi, horror, TV series stuff. And most of that originated in the comic book format before they get syndicated for television. The Preacher, Y the Last Man, The Boys, these all originated in comic book format. unfortunately, at the moment, I can sell them pretty cheap with quite a good range of them. So I've got a good selection of £2 Blu-rays to keep, and so that price point's pretty acceptable to people, you know. So I sell quite a lot of them. It's still alive and well in the shop. The rental concept was that I take on board the expenditure of buying the product in the first place, and if you pay £16 to rent it online or buy it in the shops for whatever, £10–15, and you don't like it, then it's a complete waste of money. It's 15 quid down the drain. You're never going to watch it again. So you rent it off of me for £2. If you don't like it, then it's just £2 and you give it back, and that's the end of that. You haven't wasted 15 quid. I mean, obviously when I started, I charged £2 to rent the films, and you couldn't get films any other way except for at the cinema. There was no retail whatsoever. So that's where we had our marketplace, you know, and I haven't changed the £2 price since 1987, and I won't change it until I finish up in here. So it's kept me competitive price-wise throughout the whole process here.
Just relax, because like, that's all we cut out. Like,
I'm relaxed.
Yeah. I know certainly when I worked in Blockbuster, they dabbled with like steady. Speak enough about modern challenges to be talk much about streaming.
We didn't talk
Maybe
about
just touch
that.
on-
Maybe I avoided it a wee bit.
Comics. Obviously, streaming is pretty much winning the war as such, Colin. You know, I'm very much a physical media man, but I'm sure you stream as well, and there's no getting away from it. Alright, you don't? Okay.
No.
Okay. What's that landing? Is there any what you can add, or you'd like to think we've missed? Or?
Help me, I'm going tits up here.
Right.
So it wouldn't
Let's do
help,
that.
does it?
Do some Latin to the camera. It's quite funny, like, I can put it on at the end,
I'm
almost
not,
as like
I'm
that.
not going tits up. It's, it can be quite dismal in here sometimes.
Boom, I'm back. So that was Fast Forward, one of the few remaining video rental places in the UK, I would imagine, and I'm so lucky to have it on my doorstep. And I have actually ended up, as much as I'm a 4K diehard, I have actually ended up taking some rentals off Colin, because it is just a good idea, especially if I hear something's kind of crappy, like The Matrix Resurrections. I just took a wee £2 DVD rental off Colin. Do you know what? I was actually surprised with DVD quality when it's upscaled and stuff. It's actually not that bad. So if it's something that you know is maybe going to be dodgy, then if you're in here, it's definitely worth heading down to Fast Forward and just getting it for £2. But yeah, let me know in the comments, have you enjoyed this video, and what do you think of video rental? Do you have any fond memories of it? Were you a Blockbuster man? Do you remember any of the stuff that Colin's talking about in the video? I'll be keen to know in the comments, and I'll get a wee chat going with you down there. But as promised, I'll quickly go over the little mini haul, if you like, that I got from Fast Forward. So first up, I got 2 Blu-rays and a graphic novel. It was a few weeks ago that I shot this video in Fast Forward, so these pickups aren't fresh as such, and at the time Top Gun Maverick was just about to come out, so I was in a bit of a Tom Cruise mood, if you like, and I've kind of decided to collect all the Tom Cruise movies on Blu-ray or 4K, whatever. So when I was in Fast Forward, I seen this going for £2, so it's The Last Samurai, pretty immaculate. I think it's a used Blu-ray, but very good condition. The disc is immaculate. Haven't seen it in years, but I remember really enjoying it. It's directed by Edward Zwick, and he would go on to work with Tom Cruise again in the second Jack Reacher movie. Never Go Back, was it? Jack Reacher Never Go Back? Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Billy Connolly's in it as well, which is a bit of a novelty for me, the famous Scottish comedian, if you're watching from outside the UK. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Bit of a slow burner, bit of an epic. Don't think Tom Cruise has done many films like this, certainly kind of period ones, or maybe Far and Away I can think of, which let's not talk about that. But yeah, I thoroughly recommend The Last Samurai, some cracking performances in it. A real sweeping epic, quite a powerful film, and a good performance from Tom Cruise before he started going full on action. But yeah, I haven't actually watched it since I've picked it up, but looking forward to when I get the chance. So that's The Last Samurai on Blu-ray. Never something completely different. This had been taunting me every time I went into Fast Forward, just the artwork alone. So this is Hobo with a shotgun, a late movie from Rutger Hauer. It came out in 2011, and I believe it started off as one of these like fake trailer type movies, which gained a bit of interest online and whatnot, and to the point where there was a bit of a campaign, I think, to get it made into a movie. And I don't know how they managed to land Rutger Hauer, but they did. So, as I say, just the name alone just hooked me. I kept seeing it every time I was in Fast Forward, and then when I was in that day, I thought £2, I was like, no, I'm getting that. So I finally watched this just on Friday night there, and it wasn't quite what I expected. It's a proper B-movie, kind of grindhouse film. It's only 90 minutes long, and is it a masterpiece? Absolutely not. I think I gave it 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I'm not going around to reviewing it yet. But do you know what? I had fun with this, and I would recommend it. See if you see it going for like £2 that it's on a streaming platform, definitely watch it. It's kind of like, it is very grindhousey, kind of over the top, kind of 80s B-movie violence. And it's quite psychedelic as well. Definitely worth a watch. It's pretty violent, but the violence is so kind of over the top and deliberately low budget that it's not going to make you wince or anything. It's probably going to make you laugh more than anything. But some pretty inventive kills in here as well, and a decent enough performance from Rutger Hauer. So that's Hobo with a Shotgun, and if you see it going cheap or anything like that, definitely worth a wee look, especially if you like Rutger Hauer or you're a fan of that genre. So lastly was a graphic novel, as I say, and I've kind of got into Image Comics and away from the superhero stuff because of Colin, so I went and started chatting away to him, and he kind of recommended some more indie kind of adult stuff. As much as I love the superhero stuff, so I got this from Colin recently as well, which I've not read yet, so Batman The Long Halloween, he ordered it in especially for me, so he's pretty good that way. But as I say, not getting around to reading that, but that's your more kind of typical stuff. But yeah, he put me onto the Nailbiter series. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll notice I've already covered, I put a post up about volume 1 and 2. Thoroughly enjoyed volume 1 and 2. Just looking at the back there, it says, delivers a mystery that mixes Twin Peaks with the horror of Seven. I mean, what's not to like about that? So it's basically about the town of Buckaroo, which for some reason gives birth to a ridiculous amount of serial killers, which means it's garnered a lot of like media interest, and it's got kind of cult status. So there's basically an investigator goes there at the beginning in volume 1, and he disappears. So his kind of friend, who's also an FBI investigator, he comes to find out what's happened to him basically, and then it kind of kicks off from there. And the Nailbiter is a convicted serial killer, one of the Buckaroo murderers, who's been released on a technicality. So in a very Hannibal Lecter kind of way, they go to the Nailbiter to kind of try and get inside the mind of these murderers, but it's always that uneasy alliance between the Nailbiter and the police, obviously. But yeah, really, really good. The artwork is by, is it Mike Henderson? Yeah, Mike Henderson, stories by Joshua Williamson. I like the artwork in it, it's really, really cool. But I can't recommend it highly enough. Not read volume 3 yet, but looking forward to it. And as I say, I've enjoyed what I've read so far. So that was my graphic novel pickup and my recommendation, The Nailbiter. Definitely worth checking out. But that's it for this video. Thanks for sticking to the end, folks. As I say, let me know in the comments what you think of it in general. This video is a different style for me, and you can obviously let me know what you think of the movies and the Nailbiter that I picked up. If you've enjoyed the video today, please consider hitting the like button and of course subscribe for future content. Also share the video, guys. If you've got mates, pals that are into this stuff, then I'd really appreciate you sharing it. It's a good way to get my channel out to other like-minded people who will hopefully subscribe, and we can grow the channel from there. As I say, that's all I've got for you. I've been Andy, your electric geek. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.